I mean, sure, he's a bounty hunter, but he can still be a good guy. Of course, I'm talking about this. It is the Legacy Evolution Devcon, and he will be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey, one hail, welcome back to the channel. I am your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All that is in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. Yeah, and this is Legacy Evolution Devcon. My box is a little jacked up, so you're going to have to bear with me on that. When this was announced, I 100% thought that it was going to be a reuse of the Studio Series 86 Scourge mold, largely because the previous version of this guy, that I think might have been BotCon or Collectors Club, used the deluxe Scourge mold from the Generations line, right? The one that turned into like a, I think like a stealth bomber or something. Or maybe it was some sort of like space stealth plane. Anyway you cut it. It was that version. I think that might be the only time that we've ever gotten this guy. So we got him as like a Collector Club exclusive or something. He's never ever really been, to my recollection, to my knowledge, mainline. And then I noticed that the listing was for deluxe, and I said, maybe it won't be that Studio Series mold because that's a Voyager. Well, is it a new mold? And if somebody had told me, hey, we're going to use the Studio Series 86 Blurr to make Devcon, I don't think I would have seen it. Did it work? Did it not work? We're about to find out when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And here we have Legacy Evolution Devcon. Now, just to be very, very clear, it is Devcon. The name is Devcon. D-E-V-C-O-N. Yes, it is a play on the word Defcon. D-E-F-C-O-N. That, I guess it's like a military seriousness thing. I don't know anything about military, I'm not gonna lie. But apparently that word was like on like a list of words you weren't allowed to use back in the day, so they took out the F and put in the V. Some people still kind of call it, the character Defcon, but really, the dude is Devcon. But you know what? You call it whatever you want to call it. You do you. Before we look at him, of course, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take a look at that packaging first. And yes, indeed, here we have the packaging. We see a picture of Devcon in his, I don't know what we're going to call it, shuttle mode, I guess. His, like, space cruiser. Whatever it is he turns into. His Cybertronian thing. And over here we see a close-up of his face. We have, you know, the robot mode down there. Over here our usual stuff on the packaging. And, of course, on the back we do have the two modes, like the product images for the two modes, as well as his Evo Fusion gimmick, which is basically taking his two thrusters and putting them onto his blaster. We got some pretty sweet and simple instructions. Honestly, these filled build, they do the job, no problem. And here we have like the Evo Fusion gimmick. It's his two thrusters connected to his blaster. They can go this way, or you can turn them back this way, right? Or they can switch sides, whatever it is that works for you. And yes, indeed, here we have Devcon. And there's only one thing about this guy that I'm going to say bothers me, but it doesn't really bother me. Same with Starscream Wife, like the one weakness. Otherwise, I think this is a tremendous mold. I think this is a tremendous character. But I digress. Before we can kind of get into Devcon, we really should finish talking about his accessories first. So this blaster is able to go mounted on his arm, or it can go mounted on his shoulder, I thought. Yeah, or you can put it up on his shoulder if you want to. Or of course it can go in his hand. But that's really sort of up to you what you want to do with that. I personally like to have the pieces off, and I like to put it in his arm right there. Right? That's how I prefer the guy to look. But then that leaves us with his two thrusters. And his two thrusters, of course, can go up here on his shoulders. I tend to just leave them down here on his leg. But of course, one of the popular things to do is to put one in there and put one in there as like his backpack thrusters, right? So like he can fly around in robot mode, right? So I guess you could do that. I mean, I don't want to say it makes him back heavy, but it kind of does, right? So personally, I just put him on his legs, or I leave him aside. I'm going to leave them aside for now because we'll have to do it for transformation later. Same with that, I'm just going to leave it aside for now. But I do really dig the dude. I guess like out of interest's sake, here he is next to both Blurr and the other character that would make the most sense to compare him to, that being his buddy Smokescreen. Let me just adjust this ever so slightly over a little bit just to center up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to do a version of this character that scales with Smokescreen, I think that this is pretty darn good. I mean, Devcon here is slightly taller, and I mean slightly taller than Smokescreen. I think it makes sense. By the way, apparently Mark Marr wanted to have Slizardo included in this pack, but it didn't happen. I don't see any reason for it to not happen. Of course, they'll always say, oh, budget limits, but like, for what they overcharged, come on. You could have thrown Slizardo in here, no problem. But yeah, it looks pretty good. Now, the interesting thing to me is that if you put him next to Blurr, he feels wider than Blurr. He feels bulkier than Blurr. And if you look at the two of them, honestly, I really, really wouldn't just tell by taking a quick look that they're, you know, based on the same sort of engineering and stuff. The thighs are the same, the feet are the same, and the elbow joint is the same. I thought the waist piece here was the same, but it's not. It's shaped the same, but it's molded differently. Besides those kind of parts that I just pointed out, really everything here is like a new mold. I love it. You know what I really love though? That this guy clocks in at 84 grams. Yes, it's a true blue deluxe. I love that. I'll note too, like not only is the arm different, but the entire body is remolded on Blurr. If you take the arm up, now not only is the arm, shoulder, and that chunk behind his arm all different, but if you, maybe I can show it this way. I'm going to take this arm down. You'll notice that we have this piece on Blurr. It folds underneath, and the chest actually rotates around. On this guy, we have a solid torso. We don't have a piece that comes down, and the torso does not flip around. It's a bit of an easier transformation, to be honest with you. But I just wanted to point that out because, you know, there are some engineering differences because of the, like, it's not just remolding, right? There are some engineering differences. I don't know if I would call this a new mold, but there are some differences that I think help it. In terms of look for the guy, man, it's pretty darn close. Like when I look at cartoon images of Devcon, I mean, the red on the feet and the ankles is right, the blue up to the knee, the gray thighs arguably could be white, the blue at the pelvis, the gray, white, silvery torso with the red, the blue chest and kind of rib section with the little blue red detail down here and the Autobot symbol up there. The blue on the head with the silver on the top and the silver face. Same with the arms. The blue shoulders, the blue forearms. And here again should be silver, gray, white. I feel like silver, gray, and white can all sort of be used interchangeably in Transformers, so I'm not going to hold that against it. I do wish that the hands were white. They are blue. But I do wish that they were white. But the one thing that really kind of throws me for a loop with this guy that I really wish they tweaked is the shade of blue. The shade of blue is off. The shade of blue, if anything, should be a little darker and closer to like the Beachcomber, Legacy Beachcomber shade of blue. This is lighter. The hue is off. The blue's all in the right place, but the hue is off. Because the blue shade is off, because the hands are not the white, gray, silver color that they should be, I'm going to say that the look for this guy is 9.25. It's really good. Really close to the animation, but slightly off because of the shade of blue. I think if they'd used like a deeper blue, it would have, you know, a deeper blue, the only thing would have been the hands. It would have been a 9.75, maybe even a 9.9. It's so close. But both myself and Starscream Wife, when we looked at him next to the animation, we both said the same thing. His blue coloring is incorrect. So I gotta knock him for it. It's a minor gripe, trust me, but I gotta knock him for it. Still, 9.25, pretty darn good. What about the articulation for the guy? We have a head that can go left and it can go right. It can look down a little bit, not really much up. The arms go all the way around? Yes, all the way around. The biceps, rotate or swivel the elbow to 90 degrees. Nothing at the wrist, but I think that's because of transformation, so I'm not particularly shocked that there's nothing at the wrist. Working our way down, we have a waist, pretty free flowing. This can get out of the way a little bit, by the way, if you needed to. I don't think you needed to though. Leg all the way up, leg all the way back. With our boy T-pose. If I didn't show that earlier, he can T-pose. And he can do full splits. Nice smooth thigh swivel. We have a hinge to 90 degrees at the knee, and we have ankle tilt, and we have ankle forward, which is for transformation, but it is a nice hinge to have. I'm going to say wrist would be nice. That's about it. 9.5. You know, I mean, we have the mask that we have with traditional deluxes, but we have more parts. We have probably more paint, and we certainly have more articulation. And it's not on ball joints, it's all on hinge and swivel. I love it. What about the transformation? Right now, the guy is 9.25 to a 9.5. Overall score is like, I don't know, 9.38, something like that, 9.4, something like that. Like, it's quite good. What about the transformation? So we're going to take this off, and I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to remove this. Then I'm going to pick this up and out and all the way up over the head. This piece comes down. There are two rectangular tabs there that go into two slots on the chest. I'm going to bring that all the way down right now. I'm going to fold those up out of the way, and I'm going to open up actually I'm going to take this off. Probably shouldn't have done that yet. Got ahead of myself. Let's bring the arms up first. I'm going to open that leg, and I'm going to open this leg. I'm going to bring the foot all the way forward, and these will flip up over. That will go down under. This will flip up over. This will go down under. Squeeze those legs together down underneath here. Actually, before we do that, let's bring this all the way back up so we don't have to worry about it later. All the way back up, tab it back in. Okay, down under here, very simple. We have a couple of rectangular tabs on the feet that go into little rectangular slots down here. Make sure that's slotted in, make sure that's slotted in, make sure they're all pushed together and pushed in. Beautiful! Then we're going to take that piece and put it in there. And this one and put it right there. We're going to turn the arm, and on the inside of the arm, right there, there's a little rectangular slot that'll go over this tab right here. So we're going to take that and put it over. We're going to take the same tab and slot on the other side and get it put in over. And we're going to take the blaster there and put it up front, just like with Blurr, and boom, in the end here we have Devcon in his space cruiser mode. Whoa, whoa, whoa. A little bit of a premature boom there because I did forget one transformation step that I'm going to do now. It is the hands. Super easy to forget these hands. So I pick the hand off, and how exactly is it I open? Yeah, there you go. You open that out and you rotate the hand around and then you close it up. Then you put that slot over that tab, and you do the same on the other side, and boom, now you have him in his Space Cruiser alt mode, and like Transformation 10, honestly. We have like so much accuracy here. Even like this is accurate. This should probably be back here. Like this detailing should probably be back here. Very minor. Even the silver here is accurate. The red fin, accurate. The little nose piece up here, accurate. These back here, I mean, accurate. The only thing off, again, is about the blue. On the whole, overall, this is a tremendous version of Devcon. We've been waiting a long time for him, and the overall score is a solid 9.75. And here we are, and here he is, and man, oh man. So the only thing shared between him and Blurr are the feet, the thighs, and the elbow hinges, and everything else is like newly molded, newly done. I think that this is like remolding or reuse, whatever you want to call it, done right, where you take just a couple of little parts and you keep some, if not most, of the inner skeleton and then redo the rest. I think the things that were changed on this, like the entire new arms, the whole different mechanism for the backpack, I feel like all of that works better. I think the lower legs and the way that they peg together and unpeg works better. It's solid, but it's not frustrating. The Blurr is a bit frustrating. I had to do a bit of cutting on it, to be honest with you. This takes everything that was good about Blurr and incorporates it, and it takes everything that was a bit rough about Blurr and fixes it. This is a terrific, terrific version of Devcon, and we as fans have waited almost 40 years for it. The only weakness that I can really levy against it is that the blue is not the right shade of blue. It should be more of a deeper Legacy Evolution Beachcomber blue than this brighter blue. Minor gripe, but when myself and Starscream wife compared this guy to his animation, both of us said, dude is super duper accurate, except that blue is the wrong shade. Outside of that gripe, I don't know if I can really fault anything else. The transformation works smooth. All of the joints and hinges are great. The guy is solid. He looks good. His paint is applied thick, nice, glossy. I think doing these two pieces as separate accessories so you can move them around was the right call. Yeah, love the guy. Waited a long time to get him, but I think the wait has been rewarded. Let me know what you think about Devcon. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you're at it, please hit the subscribe button. Stick around, man. Have some fun with us here on the channel. Especially don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day, you right there, you do make a difference in the world, and I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.